Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of College Sports, The Geeks. This time, we're going to remain with Brian Ramos for another episode, so it's going to be a good one. A lot has happened in the past week, whether it be transfer portal, or it be coaching movement has, I guess, kind of died down at this point, but right off the bat, just a few days ago, Jim Harbaugh accepting the Los Angeles Chargers job. He's going to go to the Chargers, but this is talking college sports. So what is this job? What does this mean for Michigan? Obviously, Sharon Moore is a candidate for the job. I mean, there's so many guys: Brian Kelly, Lance Leipold, Chris Kleiman. I mean, there's so many guys that can possibly get this job for Michigan. But kind of, what are your thoughts on this job now with Harbaugh? Going to the NFL.
Yeah, so obviously Harbaugh is going to the NFL. Uh, it's kind of interesting. I saw that Steve Sarkisian is the only coach currently from the playoffs coaching their current team. So that's kind of crazy to think about of all this shakeup and coaching turmoil. But
Yep.
yeah, Harbaugh going back to the NFL was about time. I was wondering when he was going to do it. Goes out as a national champion in his college coaching tenure. As far as what's next for the Michigan program, I think Sharon Moore should be the leading candidate. I mean, you take a look, and obviously Harbaugh, their amazing defense, the solid run game between Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards, they pretty much, and JJ McCarthy being the perfect game manager, they got them there, obviously. But when Harbaugh was suspended those last three games, Sharon Moore, one loss, and that could have took that dream away potentially. But he still held down the fort. The players loved playing for him, and I think that shows you that 3-0 record plus the excitement from the players. I think it shows that he should be coaching this Michigan team. And now, obviously, with the turmoil of the transfer portal and everything, you saw what happened to Alabama, which we'll get into later when their coach left, and other programs as well. I think Michigan is going to lose some recruits, even some players too, because they came here for Harbaugh, the huge name connection that he has, and everything. So I think Michigan is going to lose some players, lose some prospect recruits. So we'll see how their team looks next year and how their prospect pool and recruiting looks down the line.
I mean, yeah, every school is going to lose recruits when a coach leaves, no matter what the circumstances are, especially with a guy like Harbaugh, who well-known guy. But I think you mentioned an interesting point, and you talk about when he was the head coach, they were 3-0. I don't think it's that they were 3-0. I think it's the fact that he beat Ohio State. Not Harbaugh didn't beat Ohio State this year. It was Sharon Moore who beat Ohio State. I think the biggest thing if you hire Sharon Moore is the staff. I think you're gonna see hopefully the majority of these guys stay. Some might want to go with, Harbaugh and go to be an NFL coach. I wonder about their defensive coordinator, Jesse Ginter. What's going to happen there? Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? I think that to me is more pressing than anything else if you were to go Sharon Moore. I think it's almost a slam dunk. Not like a slam dunk, but I think it's almost certainty. I can say with like 85% certainty, Sharon Moore is getting this job. There was rumors about Brian Kelly getting the job, but I don't think Brian Kelly at this point would move. You just hired a new defensive coordinator from LSU, Blake Barker, to be your from Missouri to be your defensive coordinator for LSU. I mean, why would you move again and then have to hire a new staff? Not something I think he wants to do, not something anybody really wants to do at this point, but I think I think it's Sharon Moore. But I think just overall, I think they're gonna go with an in-house guy. I think that's pretty much what they're gonna do. But Sharon Moore he's not been a head coach before. I mean, that can be a concern in college football. You see it with some assistants turn out, some don't. I mean, there's still uncertainty with many, but what are your thoughts on if it's not Sharon Moore, who are they going who would you say they might go after?
So that's a good question. And I was looking at an article to see who would be guys that could get the defensive coordinator job if Minter leaves. And they were saying the two, like you said, about potentially being in-house. They were mentioning Steve Klingscale, who's the secondary coach, and he's produced guys like Dax Hill, Vincent Gray, DJ Turner, who've gone to the NFL. But they're also mentioning Mike Elston, who is a defensive line coach, uh, who's had the task of working with Aiden Hutchinson, most notable, but has also had guys like Mozzie Smith and Mason Graham. So he's dealt. So they have some people there. But as far as who would take the head coaching job if Moore doesn't take it, I don't really know. There's been rumors about Chip Kelly though going to the offensive coordinator for an NFL job. Maybe he could be a college head of coach candidate, but I don't really know. I haven't really heard any names for Michigan other than Moore. It seems like he's their number one guy and Moore wants the job. I think he's ready for it. So I don't really know who other coaching candidates for Michigan would be.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be more. I think the Chip Kelly thing is interesting. Possibly going to the NFL, and you talk coaches kind of moving to the NFL, and you see Harbaugh do it. I mean, Tommy Reese does it. He was the offensive coordinator for Alabama. You for like probably maybe a week on the job, he was the Georgia co-offensive coordinator, even if it was a week, maybe a couple days, and he goes to the NFL. And when you're thinking about Tommy Reese going to the NFL, you would think, okay, he's probably a quarterback coach, maybe he's an OC, in that realm. No, he's neither. He is the tight ends coach for the Cleveland Browns. What do you make of that, I guess, decision to be, in the NFL and then decision to be a completely different position that he's never coached before?
Yeah, so making the jump to the NFL, obviously that's the end goal of football. You want to get there.
I don't know anymore.
That's fair,
In
but
terms of coaching, I wouldn't say that's the end all be all. But
I
for
mean,
the majority of people, they would say the NFL is their end all be all. But I wouldn't say it for all coaches.
that's fair. But so obviously, okay, NFL is the more notable, I guess, because the
Yeah,
bigger leagues,
that's fair.
professionals. But obviously, like for some people, that's where you want to go. And Tommy Reese is more than qualified, I guess. But what worries me about him going to the NFL is he's only 31. And so maybe he's too young. I mean, it's less pressure because he's an assistant, offensive assistant, and a tight ends coach, as opposed to being an NFL head coach or a coordinator. Because one guy I'm high on, and I've been high on this for years, I was saying, because I debated our friend Jacob Eframian about it, outside of Eric Bieniemy, before the Jets ended up going with Saleh, it was outside of Eric Bieniemy, who should the Jets pursue as a head coach? And I said Joe Brady, the guy for offense coordinator from LSU. But my only fear was that he's too young, and I think he needs to work his way up the circuit. And he did a phenomenal job with the offensive coordinator interim for the Buffalo Bills this past season in the playoffs. But that's kind of what worries me about Tommy Reese is he's only 31. So this is his first time in the NFL. We'll see how it does. And then to answer the second part of your question about him being a tight ends coach, yeah, I'm worried about that. If I was a Cleveland Browns fan, just because he has no experience working with tight ends. I mean, he's lucky in the sense that because it's with the Browns, who are a playoff team, and they have David Njoku, who's one of the better tight ends in the league. I think it takes a lot of pressure off his shoes because what if he was the tight ends coach for like the Raiders, who's dealing with Michael Mayer, now a second year, gonna be a second year tight end, but was a rookie. He's still young, so it's more on the coaching. But as opposed to Njoku, who's a veteran, it definitely takes a lot less pressure off Tommy Reese, where I think he could succeed. Or if he was the tight ends coach of a team that ever drafts Brock Bowers, I think it's more important that he succeeds because he'll be reliable for the development of Brock Bowers. But the fact that he works with Njoku, who's a veteran established tight end, I think there's a better chance of Tommy Reese succeeding.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's interesting he goes to tight end, but kind of looking back at it, he played at Notre Dame, he coached at Notre Dame. Notre Dame, you could arguably say, now I might be a little bit biased because of, my Notre Dame, you know, fandom. but you could arguably say Notre Dame is tight end U. So wouldn't him being from a Notre Dame area, playing at Notre Dame where they throw the ball to the tight end a decent amount, and then coaching at Notre Dame for a few years, being the quarterback's coach, being the OC, wouldn't you say that tight end I don't think is as big of a jump compared to other positions since it's quarterback to tight end? It's not like quarterback to running back or offensive line or something like that. So I don't think the jump necessarily to tight end is that big. I just worry. I mean, you talk about age. I think you look at college, I mean, professional head coaches just in general. I think I don't think there's an issue at all age wise. Some of the better coaches might be younger. McVay, Shanahan is on the younger side. I mean, these guys aren't like young, but they're certainly on the younger side. I mean, I think these guys are better. I mean, McVay's young and I mean, you talk about him, he won a Super Bowl with the Rams. So I don't think age is the biggest concern with Reese. I just wonder how he'll adapt to the pro game. It would be my biggest concern.
Yeah. And I think you brought up a good point uh about Tommy Rees and Notre Dame and his ties there. I think, yeah, sure, he wasn't a tight ends coach, but you can make the argument Notre Dame is tight end you. And because his offense featured a lot with the tight ends, obviously I feel like he had a good closing relationship. So even though he may not have the label tight ends coach, I still think he's very knowledgeable about how to coach them and how to utilize them. So I think that will still help because, like you said, there have been very successful tight ends that have come from Notre Dame and successful tight ends that have come from Notre Dame while Reese was in that staff. So
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of it. And then kind of looking at coaches, going back more to the college level, um, ex-Navy coach got fired a couple years ago. He now is hired. He's not going to be the Navy coach. He's going to San Jose State. He's going to the Mountain West. Now, this guy has always done the triple option. It's a military academy and Navy, and that's pretty much what they do. He has come out and said he's not going to do that at San Jose State. So it's not going to be triple option at San Jose State. What do you make of this move for San Jose State?
I like it. I think it's good for them. I think it's good for him. He gets to come closer to home, being that he's from Hawaii. If you couldn't tell by the last name, San Jose State. It's right near there. And I mean, he was other than his last couple years with Navy, where he was losing the big game against Army, the Commanders in Chief trophy. He was doing very successful with them. He's gotten Navy ranked. They've had some good recruits. They've even gotten some good players. I mean, I remember Malcolm Perry, who got to the NFL, and Keenan Reynolds, I think his name was. He was a good player there at Navy. So they're definitely getting players, and I think in the Mountain West, that's starting to become much more competitive. I mean, Boise State is looking like one of those top teams, but I mean, with the Mountain West getting more competitive, you bring in a guy with success like Ken. I think it's a good hire for San Jose State, and obviously now running the triple option will be interesting. So we've never seen a team of his not run the triple option, so I'm interested to see what his new offense is going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to a different program that's not going to run the triple option. I don't think he's going to be as much like involved in the play calling duties. I think he's going to more delegate it a little bit, but I love this hire for San Jose State. I think this guy is going to really help this program. They're going to be competitive in the Mountain West, and as a Boise State guy, this is not good. He's a great coach. He's an excellent coach. We have and Spencer Danielson, Boise State, obviously. A first year head coach. We got talent though. I'll tell you what, this Boise State team has talent. Arguably the best running backfield in the country with Genti and Dubar. Malachi Nelson, who some argued was better than Arch Manning in the recruiting class. They just got a wide receiver, five-star JUCO wide receiver in the portal. I mean, you're talking about an offense that can be explosive, that can not necessarily blow people out, but just show explosiveness. You got running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. Their tight ends are decent. Their offensive line has improved. Their defense has always been good, especially at the linebacking core. So, I mean, this is a team that I'm excited for, but you're gonna have to go up against a veteran coach who's done it, been there, maybe not played in the biggest games necessarily, being at Navy, but I mean it's gonna be I mean it's gonna take them some time. I don't think San Jose State's gonna be year one competing for the Mountain West. I don't think it's that quick. Um, Especially with Brennan, the head coach there, going to Arizona. So I think obviously you talk portal, everything is going to change a little bit, but I think this team is going to be competitive from pretty much year two and on. This team is going to be. You could argue. I don't know if you're gonna. I might argue this. He might be a better coach than Brent Brennan that they had who went to Arizona. I mean, that's that's a big hire. In other news also, Alex Grinch is gonna be the safeties coach. So safeties coach somewhere else. I can't remember the exact destination of where he went. I'm pretty sure it was Wisconsin, that he got hired. Yeah, Wisconsin hires Alex Grinch as the safeties coach. So that's more coaching news. So we'll see if Alex Grinch can get his act together. Obviously fired at USC. But as you move on a little bit, we talk players, portal, everything like that. What do you make of Will Rogers staying at Washington with Jed Fish being the head coach?
I think it's expected, and I think it's a good move for both parties. So I'm excited to see Will Rogers. Uh, yeah, and I think that this is going to be a good team.
Yeah, I think Will Rogers helps them. I think with Jed Fish, he tried to get most of the Arizona players to enter the portal and come with him to Washington. I mean, not yeah, come with him to Washington. And he wasn't able to do so. So he kind of was like, okay, I need a quarterback. Will Rogers is floating around in the portal. There's not a lot of quarterback openings, like super four, big four, whatever you want to call it. So he kind of was left in the puddle at that point. What do I do? Where do I go? Just trying to figure it out. I mean, a team probably could have been calling, but sometimes it's just better to stay. You have a coach. Washington is going to be competitive next year. Will they win the Big Ten? Probably not, but they'll be at the upper echelon of it. So should be interesting to see what Washington is going to be this year. If they make the playoff, if they won't, well, time will tell with them. But Caden Proctor, left tackle for Alabama. He entered the portal not long ago. We talked about possibly some of the destinations, and it was pretty obvious from the get go he was going to be an Iowa Hawkeye. What are your thoughts, kind of, on him going to Iowa with their powerful offense that they have?
Yeah, well, one thing I also want to say is about Will Rogers. I think it was good, especially because, like you said, and Jed Fisher has NFL ties. So Will Rogers, if he has a good year in the Big Ten, maybe he could be day three guy, get an NFL look. So it's a good thing for him. But to answer your question, yeah, Caden Proctor was meant to be an Iowa Hawkeye. I love this that he left Bama, considering how talented he was, and he was only a freshman. So. I think Iowa is gonna have a better offense, though. I
Well, I
think
mean, that's not a hot take. I mean, they average like 10 points a game. I mean,
that's true.
they'll probably average like 17 instead of 10. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like one extra touchdown. That's not an enormous jump. I
Oh
mean,
no, I'm not saying it's gonna be drastic, but it's because they're gonna be getting a new offensive coordinator. Plus, two, they were without their quarterback because Cade McNamara got hurt. Now
yeah.
they got a solid offensive lineman in Caden Proctor, so I expect this team to be better.
There was talk with Proctor though, at Iowa, and I want to know your thoughts on this because I know you're a big offensive lineman. You really talk about the hog mollies up front, and that's kind of your specialty. There was talk about him being a left tackle. He was a left tackle at Alabama. There's talk that he's moving to left guard. Is that a smart decision for his career? Is that not a smart decision? What are your thoughts there? Since Iowa is a more running the football team, so you rather have a better guard than necessarily a tackle, because they're more of a downhill instead of a side to side type of running team.
Um, I'd be fine with it. I just think because taking a look out of a former Alabama offensive lineman, someone that we watch unfortunately every Sunday. You take a look at Evan Neal. He doesn't have he's the right tackle for the Giants. He just doesn't have the speed, just awful footwork where he just constantly gets beat at right tackle. And many Giant fans have called him to move to right guard. So he goes up against more power rushers and like D tackles and like nose tackles as opposed to the speed rushers that just beat Evan Neal all the time. And Caden Proctor's a different story though, because he's phenomenal freshman. I believe an All American, but I'm not sure.
Pretty sure he was.
So
I know he was a 5-star coming out of Iowa. So
yeah, so I don't know. He's a different situation now because it's not like he sucked and there's the call to move him to left guard. But I think maybe they want to because the fact that there are more run heavy teams. So obviously, you want to maximize your strengths, and Caden Proctor would be a strength. But I don't know if it should be a set in stone move either way. I mean, if you want to try it, like do a little test experiment, and it works well, then run with it. But I don't think it should be a permanent decision.
I understand your point on Neal in comparison to Proctor just a little bit. Like I get it. Both offensive linemen at Alabama. I think here's the difference. Evan Neal played guard at Alabama. Proctor would not be playing guard at Alabama. He would be their tackle. He would be playing guard at Iowa. Now, being a guard at Iowa, I mean, come on, man. I mean, come on. I mean, who's going to be looking at you? Would you rather be the blindside guy? Would you rather be the guard? I mean, in recent drafts, it seems like the offensive tackle, the blind side of many guys, they get drafted higher than a guard. The last time an offensive guard really got drafted high was Quentin Nelson. I mean, that was a little while ago. I mean, it's like 5, 6 years ago when Quentin Nelson got drafted number 5 or number 6 for the Indianapolis Colts. So I mean, I don't think moving to guard is smart financially. Now, is it better for the team? One could argue maybe, but I think if you're Proctor, you got to think about yourself, number one, and number two is if I move to guard, because we know Proctor is uh, at least suitable for the All-American spot every year. He's at least in contention for it for an offensive lineman position at tackle. It moving him to guard would that moving him to guard from tackle that could decrease his value. That's my biggest concern if you move Proctor from tackle to guard because we don't know what he's going to be at guard. We know that he's excellent at tackle. Moving him to guard, there's more uncertainty there, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I see your point, but I think your first point about the financial part, I don't know if I mean, I see your point, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with it because you see, and it hasn't been not that too long ago where you've seen guards get um drafted high. I mean, take a look at 2022, Kenyon Green, offensive guard from the Texans, Zion Johnson, offensive guard from
How
the
early are these
Chargers,
guys?
15, 17.
Come on, he doesn't want to be a 15, 17. Tackles are at the top 10, top 5 picks. He doesn't
Okay,
want
last
from
year
10 to 30. He wants to be in the top 10. This guy's an
last
All-American. This guy's a 5-star. He was coming out the best player in Iowa, arguably, maybe the best offensive lineman in his class. He's not going to be looking to be drafted 15 to 30. He wants to be drafted in the top 10. That's where tackles are. You don't see guards in the top 10.
Okay, last year Peter Skoronsky, right outside the top
He
10.
was a
He was
tackle.
11th.
He was a tackle guard mix. He was the
Yeah,
same thing as
guard.
Evan Neal. Tackle guard. He had some tackle in him. If you move him to guard for 2 years at Iowa, for 2 years, he plays guard for both years at Iowa, his value will go down.
I don't think so.
His value will
I
go down.
think
His
I
value will
think
go down.
I think teams will
Skoronsky's
actually
value when he was at 8 was that he played tackle for the majority of his career at Northwestern. They had an injury at guard, and so he moved over to guard because he showed versatility. What they would do with Proctor is move him from left tackle to left guard. They would not move him from left tackle to right guard to left guard and make sure he's versatile. They would keep him at one place. There's a difference between Skoronski, there's a difference between Neal and Proctor, because Proctor, they would focus on the left side. They're not going to use him as a versatile piece. There's a huge difference from being the left tackle to the left guard than being the left tackle, the left guard, and right tackle. It's completely different from being the left side to the right side as a guard or a tackle. That's the biggest difference. I don't think it's smart for him at all to move. I mean, it makes sense for Iowa, but I'm not saying I don't think it makes sense for him. Sometimes you need to be more selfish in athletics.
I mean, sure, but thing is with Caden Proctor though, I think teams could actually like his versatility
But
and need it if they
versatility on the
want to.
left side, I mean, what is that going to do for you? If you already have your left tackle, you're just going to move him to left guard, but he could be a great right tackle, but you're not going to have him play at right tackle because you already, like, you're not going to move him to a side that he hasn't played yet in the NFL. They're only going to keep him stationed for the left side.
I mean, this is also just rumors. There's no set in stone thing that he's going to be the left.
Moving on to another Alabama guy entering the portal. Caleb Downs entered the portal and he goes to Ohio State. Ohio State, many people are rumored to say this team is great. They have one of the best quarterback classes. They have they've got the best running back duo. They have the best defense. Here's what I'll say. Okay, they got great talent. But have we looked at the past? Have we looked at the past? What have they done? They've lost to Michigan. Michigan, I don't think is getting as worse as some people think they are. Donovan Edwards is coming back. Who knows about the quarterback position? Alex Orji looks like he will be the quarterback, and Jim Harbaugh compared him to the Alabama quarterback. So I mean, he can't be that bad. He's got to be pretty decent. So if Michigan is good, I think Michigan can beat them. And also, let's not forget about the Big Ten is adding Washington, who's going to be good. They're adding Oregon, who's going to be good. I mean, the Big Ten is going to be pretty darn good.
It is. It is. But I think you got to look at the other stuff too. First of all, they got Caleb Downs. What I called, you disagree with me. I called it that he was going to Ohio State. And I know your bias is kicking in because you hate Ohio State. But you got to look at here too. Michigan just lost Harbaugh.
Okay.
They're going to lose some talent. They're already going to lose a lot of talent to the NFL. And so is Ohio State. But the thing is they have the depth and they're making up for it. I mean, their wide receiver class is still solid. Or wide receiver core, I mean. They upgraded a quarterback because they sent Kyle McCord packing to Brick City, Syracuse. And they got Will Howard
question.
from
Are you
Kansas
sure
State.
that Will Howard is much better than Kyle McCord?
Yes. Kyle McCord sucked.
Kyle McCord was not bad.
Kyle McCord was awful.
He was not awful.
There's a reason he went from Ohio State to Syracuse.
Because he didn't get promised the starting job. That's why he went to Syracuse.
They sent him goodbye. We're actually bringing in a confident court. Kyle McCord was the reason they lost that Michigan game.
Okay, but Ohio State lost one game. Ohio State lost one game. If he was
the
so
biggest
bad,
game that they have to win.
He was so bad. If he was so bad of a quarterback, they would have lost more than one game.
Deal. They don't need to with that team. They've had the talent. Kyle McCord just had to be a game manager, and he couldn't even do that successfully against Michigan. Against Michigan, no. Plus, there's a lot of pressure on Ohio State.
He had one bad game.
And it was an abysmal game.
It was not that bad. It was not that bad of a game.
When you have Marvin Harrison Jr.
Marvin Harrison Jr. was up and down this year because he had injuries.
Okay, and when you have top two first-round wide receivers, I mean, Amika Stang, but when you have that type of talent, you gotta make it work. I don't really care. And
it's not like they got blown out against Michigan.
They lost
by 6 points. They lost 30-24, and Kyle McCord had 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
Yeah, 2 interceptions. You can't play. You gotta play turnover football in these big games.
That's not great.
2 interceptions.
Okay, but dude, they lost by 6 points.
Yeah.
It's not like they lost by 100 points and he played god
Okay.
awful. His
One of those
QBR,
interceptions
his
get turns into
QBR was his QBR was 89.7.
one of those interceptions is in an interception, and they might have scored a touchdown and won that game.
Okay. That yeah,
He is the
okay.
reason they
I'm not
lost.
disagreeing that Kyle
Plus,
McCord
there's
didn't
pressure
play.
on Ryan Day because he can't get the game done. Ohio State fans wonder if he's the guy. This is how you prove that he's a guy. Your biggest threat has been Michigan, and this is when they're most vulnerable because of the amount of talent they're going to lose between the NFL, Harbaugh, and the portal. Ohio State went all out in the portal between Caleb Downs, Will Howard. If Ohio, listen, I know they got Oregon and Washington
I don't
coming
think
in,
Will
but
Howard is as good as advertised.
he's not an elite college quarterback, but
He is the definition of a college
you
quarterback.
love that phrase, but he is
He is.
fine, but he is good enough to take Ohio State to the promised lands. He's not
I
going to be
agree.
the reason you win, but he's also not going to be the reason you lose.
That's
Kyle
fair.
McCord was the reason they lost.
Yes, one game. I think Will Howard
And it's
could.
the game you can't afford to lose.
Yes, but what my point is,
It's like
I don't think
Georgia.
I don't think the difference between I agree. I think that Will Howard is better than Kyle McCord, but I don't think the difference between Kyle McCord, who personally I think Kyle McCord was okay overall. I thought he was like overrated at times, and then I think he got harped on too much. I thought he was an okay, fine quarterback. Now I think Will Howard is a good, decent quarterback. There's a difference there. But I don't think that the difference is McCord was trash and Will Howard is this unsung hero. I mean, that's crap. I mean, Kyle McCord was an okay quarterback, and you're getting a decent quarterback. I
Yeah,
mean,
Ohio State can't afford
Ohio State
decent.
is also losing Marvin Harris. So I mean, that might be the biggest loss in all of college football.
Sure.
And also, USC is going to be USC, you would expect. I mean, who knows about the quarterback situation? They got Miller Moss, who had a great game, and they got the quarterback from UNLV, who had a good game in the Mountain West Championship game. So USC is going to get better. UCLA has quarterbacks. You would expect them to be, competitive. Maybe not at the top, but they'll be competitive. And Oregon, that's the team to watch out for in the Big Ten.
Yeah, Oregon's scary, but I still view Ohio State as a favorite to win the Big Ten.
I can't go that far because what position besides running back and then like downs are they better than Oregon?
Wide receivers.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Which receivers do they have at Ohio State? And also this, you have to realize that their offensive coordinator last year and Brian Hartline got demoted from offensive coordinator, wide receiver coach to now just wide receiver coach. So I'm not saying he's going to leave, but there's a possibility of him leaving.
Okay, well, they have Igbuka, who I
Abuka,
said.
okay. He's good.
You got Carnell Tate, Brandon Innes, Jaden Ballard, Kojo Antwi, Kyan Grays, Bryson Rogers. And then you have Jeremiah Smith, who's the #1 wide receiver in the country,
Okay. Yeah, but he's a freshman, so who knows?
and Mylan Graham, who's another top wide receiver in the country, who both I thought and were hoping would flip to Florida. But they still have talent.
No, I'm not saying that they don't have talent, but I don't think the talent disparity between Ohio State and Oregon is that big, number one. And number two, I think Oregon has a better head coach. I think it's pretty simple.
I'll
When
give
you
you coach, sure, but I even like Ohio State's offensive line more with Josh Fryer,
because
and they got Seth
Ohio State
McLaughlin
needs to have a
transfer.
better offensive line because they run the football. Oregon doesn't run the football like a million times. They have Dylan Gabriel to throw it down the field. I mean, we're never really going to come to an agreement at the end of the day. This is all the time we have for you today on this episode. Got a little fiery. We hope you enjoy.